as a trustworthy family-owned business with unmatched customer service. Go online at DeSantoPropane.com for more info or call toll-free at 1-800-752-4574 today. Since 1937, the difference has been DeSanto Propane.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Against the Boards. Chamberlain Bauder here with you as we talk some lacrosse and hockey in Western New York. Getting into this week, the Knighthawks coming off of a big win against the Oshawa Firewolves last week. The Amerks still in that weird fifth place purgatory hunt. And unfortunately, the Hobart Statesmen are no longer the defending champions of the Division III National Hockey title. Let's get into all of it right now. Let's start with Hobart. It was another Final Four appearance, another national championship appearance, another overtime national championship appearance, and unfortunately, Hamilton got the 2-on-1 fast break late, about 8 minutes into overtime, and put things to bed. And Hamilton crowned the new Division III NCAA champions. Yeah, it sucked. Not gonna lie. I was driving home from Richmond because I was broadcasting the Richmond-Hobart game that they lost 24-8, and then was listening to that on my way home the next day, and yeah, then they abruptly lost it in overtime at a point when in years past, now that's in the last 4 years, they've gone to overtime 3 times in the national championship. They've won 2 of them. They've lost 1 of them now. But also the thing that kind of is just that little extra hurt about it is that they were 30-0 going into the national championship. So had the chance to become the first ever 31-0 team in hockey, and were unable to do that. Still a fantastic run, no doubt about that, but it was disheartening in the end, to say the least. Talking about the Amerks real quick, not completely Amerks, more Sabres, but one of my friends sent me a video last night that was the end credits of The Hangover, but they swapped out all of the photos in it for photos of the Sabres during the drought before this drought ends. And I found it absolutely hilarious. There are also some just gems of photos in there. There's a picture of Donnie Granato from a Winter Classic, and he's got these hilarious sunglasses on. But anyways, it is almost that time when it comes to the Sabres side of things. It is ready to roll into it. The Amerks are going to have to go up against the Toronto Marlies right now and play in a play-in series that I don't know. I mean, we talked about it over the past couple weeks. They've gotten some reinforcements lately. They've got Zach Metza back. They've got Consta Helenius back. He's scoring hat tricks. It's awesome. I just don't know if this team right now, with where they thought they were going to be at the beginning of the year, probably assuming they were still going to have guys like Noah Ostlund on this team. I mean, things change quick, right? And you lose your captain for how much of the season playing up in Buffalo. But it is not been a season that's felt like others in the past couple of years for the Amerks, that's for sure. But comes with the territory when you're the best team in a conference in the NHL, which is not something I thought I'd say about the Sabres this year, let alone in the next 5 years. But here we are. They're a wagon. There is nothing else that you could say about it when it comes to the Buffalo Sabres. They're just an absolute wagon. But yeah, I mean, we'll get into it more as we, probably next week, actually, I'll really hit a hardcore playoff clinchers post. But it's just such a weird spot They're ahead of Belleville enough that it should be comfortable, but also if they did lose out, it could flip. It's just a very bizarre spot. But they should be at least in the 5 spot. That will take them to Toronto, more than likely. But Knighthawks right now, 4 games left in the regular season. The next one against Halifax, and playoff scenarios there, just quickly. If a team is not eliminated right now from the playoffs until they get to 11 losses, which sounds insane. But that's where their elimination line is right now, early on so far in this season. It's what Oshawa crossed after we beat them. Ultimately, Halifax going to 10 this weekend if they were to lose would be big. But yeah, right now, being at 8 losses is an okay spot with 4 games left, as long as they're pulling them out. That's going to be the key. We'll see kind of how the cards fall in the terms of that one. But that's all I've got for you today. Big thanks to my producer, Paul Russo, for getting us up and running. And without further ado, we'll turn it over to Spencer for the rest of Against the Boards.
At the top, working it around the perimeter, now up top, Fields, the shooter, dishes! They fooled me, they fooled everyone on the floor. Here in the third quarter, and it's 9-7. That's how close this has been. A fun one for sure. Fields flips it behind his back and say goodbye to that 2-goal lead. Thomas McConvey. Fields sends it to the corner, and a move to the net in the crease. Goal not going to stand. Bouncing up to the line, final 5 seconds. Simmons fires one on net. That's stopped by Hutchcraft. The Knighthawks bang on the board, step out onto the floor. Randy Mearns collects his first win.
The Rochester Knighthawks have ended their 3-game losing streak in convincing fashion, beating the Oshawa Firewolves 18-11 in Oshawa. The Knighthawks were ready to play from the opening whistle and really proved it in that fourth quarter, scoring 7 goals to Oshawa's only 2 in the final frame. It's been a rough couple of weeks for Knighthawks forward number 12, Thomas McConvey, but he came out in this game and dominated. A sock trick, 6 goals on the night for T-Mac to go along with 2 apples for 8 points. Offensively, it wasn't just a McConvey show. Reigning NLL MVP Connor Fields with 11 points on the night, and another guy who has had a very good year dishing out the ball, number 7 Ryan Lanchbury, 1 goal and 10 assists for 11 points on the night. At the end of the game against Las Vegas at home, you could really see a shift in energy and momentum with this group. That's the energy that head coach Randy Mearns brings to this team. Another guy that had a big game was number 43, Ryan Smith. We've been waiting for him to break out, and he did just that in this one. 5 goals, 3 assists for 8 points on only 10 shots on net. He was shooting 50%. Now we're going to go through the scoring summary in this one. Taylor Jensen, less than 3 minutes into the game, gets the scoring started with a breakaway goal. Chad Tutton on the assist to make it 1-0 Rochester. Next 2 goals would go to Oshawa, with Ryan Benesh and Dawson Theed each getting 1 to make it a 2-1 lead for the Firewolves. And then Connor Fields there late in the first quarter gets a beautiful shot over the shoulder of Doug Jamieson to tie it up at 2 heading into the second quarter. Taggart Clark, the son of Firewolves head coach Glenn Clark, gets the first one of the second quarter just over a minute and a half into the frame, making it 3-2 Oshawa. Something we talked about last week was Zed Williams coming out the back door. He was doing that again in this one, along with Graydon Hogg. Zed Williams with a transition marker to tie the game up at 3. Ryan Benesh scored the next one for Oshawa, his second of the night, to give them a 4-3 lead. But then, back-to-back goals from Connor Fields and Chad Tutton, the hometown boy from Oshawa, got a big one to give the Knighthawks a 5-4 lead. That goal was challenged by Glenn Clark and the Firewolves bench, but it was upheld. They lost their timeout for the rest of the first half. Alex Simmons found Twine, and then it was a 5-5 game with under 30 seconds left in the first half. Head coach Randy Mearns of the Knighthawks called a timeout to draw up a play. Knighthawks offensive coordinator Kyle Clay drew up some magic. Beautiful ball movement from the whole offense, getting Fields there on the left side, bringing all the attention to him, and then setting up a beautiful one-timer to Thomas McConvey. His only goal of the first half, but later on in the second half, he goes bananas. To start the third quarter, Oshawa scoring 4 out of the first 5 goals of the second half, giving themselves a 9-7 lead. But from that point on, it was all K-Hawks. 12 out of the final 14 goals in this game from the Rochester Knighthawks. And it starts with Thomas McConvey on a beautiful BTB pass from Connor Fields to make it a 1-goal game. And then the Magic Man, number 43, Ryan Smith, scoring 2 goals in 23 seconds to turn what was a 1-goal deficit into a 1-goal lead. And around 40 seconds later, Ryan Lansbury with another marker in this one to give the Knighthawks a 2-goal lead going into the fourth quarter. Early on in the fourth, Jackson Nishimura for Oshawa got a transition goal to start the quarter, make it a 1-goal game, but then the Knighthawks went on a 5-goal run. Another guy local to Oshawa, not from Oshawa, but from the area, Kyle Waters. He had a family suite, and that suite went bananas after he scored a beautiful goal right in front of the net, right in front of Doug Jamieson. And then Thomas McConvey decided it's my time to shine. 3 goals in 77 seconds for T-Mac, all coming in a row, a natural hat trick, a beautiful showing from Thomas McConvey there in that 77 seconds of lacrosse. Ryan Smith scored another to give the Knighthawks a 6-goal lead, but then Dawson Thede scored the final Firewolves goal of the game, and that was finished off by Ryan Smith and Thomas McConvey scoring the final 2 to make it a dominating 18-11 win for the Rochester Knighthawks. This is exactly what this team needed before heading to Halifax for what's going to be an emotional game. We know the history between these two teams that just don't like each other, and it's going to be a physical test. And for the Knighthawks, they have to keep winning if they want a chance to be playing at the end of April. Riley Hutchcraft got the start for the Knighthawks. He had 40 saves on 51 shots and gets his first win of the season. Well deserved for Hutchie. Late in this game, Doug Jamieson, the Firewolves goaltender, got pulled, and they put in Andrew Kidd for the last 6:59 of the game. Dougie is a guy that you do not see get pulled often, so it really showed the respect that Glenn Clark has for this Knighthawks offense as they were firing on all cylinders, and he had to make a decision, and he pulled Dougie late in this one. Congratulations to interim head coach Randy Mearns on collecting his first career coaching win in the National Lacrosse League. And Bobby Keast, in his first game as Knighthawks defensive coordinator, really showed why he is a prized possession in the sport of lacrosse, as he carried this team, got them going, brought some new energy on that bench for those defenders, and really helped them get a big-time win and holding their opponents to 11 goals, which is something this team has really struggled with all season long. You can say at the end of the day, it was a 100% full 60 minutes of lacrosse this Knighthawks team put forth, and they got a much-needed win in Oshawa. Now turning the page to this upcoming Saturday, where the Knighthawks will have the newest chapter of the rivalry against the Halifax Thunderbirds. A lot of history between the Thunderbirds organization and the city of Rochester, as they were in the Flower City for 25 seasons, winning 5 championships, including the first ever three-peat. At the end of the 2018-2019 NLL season, they relocated to Halifax, Nova Scotia. There's a lot of controversy around that move and everything that's happened since, so we're not going to get into that as we got a big game to preview. Halifax is 6-9 on the season, but don't let the record fool you. They are a much better team than what that record tells you. They are led by former Nighthawk and former NLL champion Micah Kersey behind the bench. In net, it has been the Warren Hill show all season. He has been phenomenal all year long for this T-Birds team. It's going to be a big-time test for this Nighthawks offense to get started early because Halifax is one of those teams that really gets better as the game goes on. They have really shown all year long that once the fourth quarter hits, they can really turn it on and take it to the next level and really put their opponents on their heels. Rochester needs to be leading going into that fourth quarter in order to have a chance in this game. Offensively, they are led by Clark Peterson, who has 77 points in 15 games played. He's got 6 power play goals out of his 34 on the season. This is a Halifax team that doesn't really score a lot of points. Their next leader is Randy Stats, who has missed 4 games with 51, and then after that it drops to 48 with Cody Jamieson, a Nighthawks legend, and then it drops all the way down to 28 with Jason Knox. This Halifax offense has really struggled all year long, only scoring 8 against the Philadelphia Wings last Friday night. The Nighthawks really need to get their energy going early on in order to win this game. This is, again, as I said earlier, a must-win if you're going to want to be playing lacrosse in April. The Nighthawks will be taking on the Halifax Thunderbirds on Saturday night, 6 o'clock start, as they are on the East Coast in Nova Scotia. It will be a battle between two teams who are fighting for their playoff lives in Nova Scotia, as the Thunderbirds are hosting the Rochester Knighthawks. Riley Hutchcraft should be in that again on Saturday, and they need another great performance out of him like they saw on Saturday in Oshawa, Ontario against the Firewolves. This is the second of 4 straight on the road, as after this week they will be in Buffalo, and then the following week they will be in Georgia before traveling home the next day to take on the Swarm at home again. Rochester sitting at 6-8 in the standings. This is a big one and a game they need to.
It should be a great finish. Here's a chance. Fields shoots. He scores. What a beautiful goal by Connor Fields.
Great example. Just far too easy for Fields.
And now he's looking. Lots of time on the shot clock. He's going to fire. He scores. What a rocket.
Much better defensive effort, but
he dishes it out front. They score. What a beauty setup right there. Smith finishes it off.
You want to know what chemistry is? Take a look right here as Field bounces through a couple of weak checks. Spin move.
Always a good guy to get the ball, but here we go. There's the pass. Stock shoots. Stopped by Hutchcraft, and that will do it. The lacrosse game is over, but not before we have some activity.
And a goal! Cody Jamieson! Rear back and fire! And the Nighthawks take a 6-3 lead through Jamieson.
And a little bit dangerous because Dinsdale had just coming out of the box. If this was a save, he was halfway up the floor, but Jamieson pretty confident in his shot. He sells far side, goes short side, and puts it in for his first goal of this game.
Tucked it away beautifully for his 5th